At the entrance of the corpse god dungeon, a unit of soldiers stand there hesitant to enter out of fear as they step back. Shagro and his party confidently move forward into where the others are tentative to go. Meanwhile, in the deep caverns, the first unit is getting decimated by the corpse deity. He summons numerous blades that cleave them up. The captain orders the wounded to be taken to the sorcerers for healing. While declaring a temporary retreat for the rest, he comments on the arrival of the main subjugation unit, led by Shagra. He's the church's secret weapon and a mighty veteran who has had many encounters with death, also known as the Calamity Crusher. The units step into the open space. As he draws his sword, the corpse god begins by summoning a black lightning spell that they block. One of the mages points out that the labyrinth is growing, and so is the death that the necromancer summoned that has spilled over into the outside world, the Calamity. Crusher uses an acceleration spell to dash down the cliff to clash with the giant skeleton. Evidence of their high-level exchange can be seen on the outside as damned souls can decide collecting above the dungeon. They turn into an energy beam that shots down into the spell of the corpse god, who uses the energy to summon a dragon. Shaguro prepares for the encounter by fortifying his sword. As the dragon dashes, he combines it with his acceleration spell to cut through the monster like that one-time Mihawk cut through the iceberg at Marine Ford. The support protects themselves as they comment that the necromancer must be stopped during this encounter or his corpses will consume the world. But after witnessing its magic, they start to doubt if Shagura can vanquish the fiend. He continues to hold his own against it, till the corpse god backs up for a moment and casts a spell that raises a mini-army of skeletons. The side of an army against one man gets the mages. Panicking, but his number one fan, Virolo Falardo, is confident that Shagrul will not fail. Her colleagues look at her twice with certainty that her opinion is the delusions of a rabid fangirl. She might not be wrong, because faced with such odds, the Calamity Crusher's eyes start to shine a crimson light. We know that if it's some sort of my power, this guy is about to show something special. Things flash back to his younger days as a voice blames him for a bunch of people's death he could set. The souls of the dead, and since he was in a world full of demise, he had to do a lot of elimination to survive to reach his current level presently. He comments on how he can see all the souls the corpse god has sacrificed. The deity is surprised to see that he has the evil eye Shagro was born with. The power to see the ghosts of every bandit and monster he's killed. They speculate that event. The birds and insects might be included. Most of the bearers of the evil either seek the shelter of the church and dedicate their lives to prayer, or take joy in tormenting these ghosts and become necromancers like the corpse god Chervor chooses to fight for humanity on the battlefield he braces himself, and shoots a fire spell that wipes out a decent amount of the approaching army. However, their numbers are still overwhelming, so he dashes in and begins to do some blade work to reduce them. He jumps and deflects a fireball off the corpse god's head, which hits the roof of the cave, causing heavy rocks to fall on the boss and all his minions. Shigeru hangs high till the dust settles and continues his attack. The rock causes some damage to the giant skeleton, exposing the true form of the corpse god, which happens to be a brain in a jar. He has an argument with the deity about their powers. The necromancer prepares for the final clash by casting a spell that Shagro has never seen before, as the sigils are foreign to him. The Calamity Crusher doesn't hesitate and jumps into the attack with the hope that the destruction of the fiend will create a future for the people. Lothalardo protects him with a support spell. As Shigeru breaks through, this causes a giant magic explosion, hazy memories of the corpse. God's encounter with Shagrua flashes into his mind. He regains consciousness, wondering why he has frail arms. He touches his neck as he finds it difficult to speak, which is to be expected given the wound. He looks around and finds the walls and floor strange as he gets up from the alleyway. The necromancer steps out into the light, and he's in the modern world, identifiable by the hustle and bustle as people run around to make ends meet. He stands there shocked by his surroundings, but it is obvious that he is still injured, as the evidence of it is on his white shirt. The corpse god wonders what kind of city he has found himself in. While in his confused state, a drone controlled by Takumi hovers near him and is shocked by what he's seen. He gets closer to his screen. As he can't believe that he's still alive, he quickly makes a call for his associates to cancel the retrieval of The body, because the guy is still alive and kicking, the retrieval team wonders if the hit failed, but he assures them that he confirmed the hit, but he orders them to stay ready in case the situation changes. Takumi watches his screen, wondering how he's walking around normally with that kind of injury. The necromancer has never seen such architecture or writing, and even suspects that the screens are a projection spell. However, he can't sense magic coming from it. He takes a seat on some steps and observes the people around and notices that they look healthy and happy. He therefore concludes that it must be a peaceful land. He thinks back to the place that he left, unsure if he will be able to return, but he does hope it has a future. His thoughts are interrupted when a police officer grabs his shoulder for a wellness check, but he initially doesn't understand what he's saying. But as they keep talking, he realizes that he understands parts of it and figures out that he's pulling the linguistic information from his current body's brain. The officers want to confirm if the residue on his shirt is a design, but he still doesn't respond, so they ask if he can give his name. He finally manages to answer as he recognizes the language as Japanese. He also states that his body's name is Poka. The officer suspects that he's the son of a tourist. Judging from a shaky speech upon closer inspection, they don't doubt that his neck injuries are real Misaki lands. On one of the officer's heads, just as they're about to take him to the hospital, she expresses her relief that he's all right. As he wonders who she is, the lady comments on how much the cops are in pain before grabbing his hand and leading him from the situation. The police try to run after them, but they are too slow. I went home and assume it's just the normal happenings found in Shinjuku, while Misaki leads him back into a secluded alleyway. She jokes around that they made a clean getaway and asks him why he remembers the hyperactive girl, gives her name both normally and how to read it backward. So, this chick eccentric. He wonders why anyone would want to read it backward. His head suddenly begins to hurt. Enters his mind, and he sees that she was smiling. So he assumes that she knows the original owner of the body. Misaki grabs and holds him upside down, giving him a physical check and confirming that his body is warm too. With this, she is certain that he's not a ghost, and even seems happy that he's not a ghost, and even seems happy that he's alive. The corpse god is thankful for her concern. Misaki tells him not to thank her because she's about to eliminate him again. She removes a crowbar with his residue on it. She confesses to his first obliteration with a sinister look as she wonders how he's alive again. The memories of their first encounter come flooding back to his head, confirming that she's the harmer of his body. He turns around and begins to run as Takumi watches from his drone. He reveals that Polka was 16 years of age and that someone paid for a hit on him. He doesn't understand what the clown I was thinking. The watcher hopes that he just stays down this time around. Otherwise, he doesn't get paid as a retriever. The necromancer escapes and hides in an abandoned building as he pants. He's a little frustrated by his new body's lack of stamina. He notices that in this world he can hardly sense the spirits around because there are so few magical elements in the air. To make matters worse, he can sense that his current body has almost no magic power. He can't even cure his wound, and it dawns on him that if he sustains one fatal injury, he's a goner. So he tries to process the situation to figure out what his next move should be. All the while, Misaki can be seen quietly dashing to his hiding place. She lets her presence be felt by telling him that their time is up for this game of tag. The corpse god tries to get away as she launches some knives at him, but he somehow dodges while grabbing a metal pipe. She's impressed with his movement, stating that no one has ever dodged that well before. She dashes towards him and begins to attack using her crowbar, but the necromancer barely manages to keep up with the onslaught. As he deflects the attacks, his mind can react, but his limited body can't keep up. He tries to run away, but he suddenly falls to the floor. When he's hit with a knife to the leg, he turns to her and glares at her before removing the knife and returning it to sender. But she easily dodges it as he limps away. She comments on how truly impressive he is because she has ended many gangsters and hitmen. However, she has never been intimidated before. The necromancer slips away and finds himself in a strange room. Misaki catches up and tells him that the building is a famous one known to be used by the Yakuza to end people. When he hears her voice, he tries to run away, but she hits him again with her knife. She excitedly informs him that there are rumored ghosts that haunt the building. All the while, the necromancer was crawling to a wall for some support he faces. Misaki confirms the rumors. He tells her that even with his body's eyes, he can see the ghosts in their tormented states. This means that the evil eye is a power of the soul and not the body, so regardless of the vessel, it should manifest. Misaki doesn't understand what he's saying, as he warned her that she should treat lives with greater care. The ghosts of the people she has ended can be seen huddled around her. Her sinister intent sends them away as she dashes to finish the corpse god with his powers activated. He summons his skeleton hand, which jets out and claps her, instantly take over. Watches on with his drone, but is puzzled by what he's seeing meanwhile in the other world. Shagura doesn't feel certain that his job is done. Lofalardo assures him that he has done his title proud. The Calamity Crusher reveals that it was his final strike that made the corpse god's spell take effect. It seems similar to teleportation magic. He could see the necromancer's soul with his evil eye, but it vanished all too quickly. Lavalardo updates him that the church observation unit has sent a report stating that he defeated the enemy with all traces of the corpse's soul gone from their world. Shagrua stands there with his eyes activated, hoping that what is written is true back in the modern world. The ordeal has fully awakened the necromancer. Now that he's in a place not so full of dark energy, he thinks that he might be able to live a peaceful life in this new world. But he intends to also have fun playing the Grim Reaper, so he prompts Misaki to carry on the fight, not realizing that she's dead. It only becomes apparent when she stops responding that brings the episode to an end.